Ever seen a book revealed over 1400 years ago in the vast desert of Arabia contains facts that modern science discovering today? How could such knowledge exist long before telescopes, microscopes, and satellites? Today, we explore mind-blowing scientific facts mentioned in the Qur'an, facts that will leave you amazed. Scientists believe the universe began as a single, dense mass that exploded, what we now call the Big Bang Theory. This discovery, made in the 20th century, changed our understanding of the cosmos. And astronomers also observed that galaxies are moving away from each other, proving that the universe is constantly expanding. But did you know the Quran mentioned this concept over 1400 years ago? Have those who disbelieved not considered that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them and made from water every living thing? This verse states that the heavens and earth were once one entity before being split apart, a striking similarity to the Big Bang Theory. Even more fascinating, the verse mentions that all living things are made from water, which modern biology confirms. And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander. This aligns perfectly with what modern scientists have discovered, that the universe is constantly expanding. How could a book from the 7th century contain such advanced knowledge? Coincidence, or a sign of divine knowledge? Before the invention of microscopes, people had no idea how babies were formed inside the womb. It was only in the 20th century that embryologists described the stages of fetal development. We created man from an extract of clay. Then we made him a sperm drop in a firm lodging. Then we created the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we created the clot into a lump of flesh. Then we made, from the lump, bones, and we covered the bones with flesh. The Quran describes these stages perfectly. Even Dr. Keith Moore, a famous embryologist, acknowledged this as an accurate description of human development. Also, in the early stages of development, a human embryo looks remarkably similar to a leech. Scientists using microscopes discovered that the embryo at this stage clings to the womb and even feeds like a leech. Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot. The Arabic word alaka has multiple meanings: a clinging substance, a blood clot, and a leech. Modern science confirms that the embryo at this stage clings to the uterus, has a blood-like appearance, and resembles a leech in shape and function. How could the Quran describe this so accurately 1400 years ago, even without a microscope? Geologists discovered that mountains have deep roots that extend beneath the Earth's surface. They help stabilize the Earth's crust, preventing major shifts and earthquakes. Have we not made the Earth as a resting place, and the mountains as pegs? This verse describes mountains exactly as modern geology explains them today. Scientists have discovered that when salt water and fresh water meet, they don't immediately mix due to differences in density and salinity. A barrier exists between them. He has released the two seas, meeting side by side. Between them is a barrier so neither of them transgresses. How did the Quran describe this natural phenomenon long before oceanography existed? Science has confirmed that iron on Earth came from meteorites, meaning it was sent down from space. And we sent down iron, wherein is strong material and benefits for mankind. This wording is remarkable because it suggests that iron was literally sent down, which is exactly what scientists discovered. Modern science tells us that Earth's atmosphere is a protective shield. It blocks harmful ultraviolet rays, traps heat to maintain a stable climate, and burns up most meteors before they hit the ground. Without this shield, our planet would be just as lifeless as Mars. And we made the sky a protective canopy, but they turn away from its signs. The Quran describes the sky as a protective canopy, a perfect description of how the atmosphere functions. But here's what's even more amazing. Scientists only fully understood the role of the atmosphere in the 20th century, yet the Quran mentioned it 1400 years ago. This raises an important question. How could this knowledge exist in a book revealed at a time when there were no telescopes, satellites, or space exploration? Think about it. Every human has a unique fingerprint. No two fingerprints are the same. Does man think that we will not reassemble his bones? Yes, we are able even to proportion his fingertips. Why did the Quran specifically mention fingertips? Because they are unique to each person. Scientists have discovered that as you go deeper, light starts to disappear. At around 200 meters below the surface, the light becomes dim. Beyond 1,000 meters, there is complete darkness where no sunlight can reach. But here's something amazing. The Quran described this total darkness at the bottom of the ocean centuries before scientists had the technology to explore it. Or they are like darkness within an unfathomable sea which is covered by waves, upon which are other waves, over which are clouds. Darkness, some of them upon others. This verse not only describes the darkness of the deep sea, but it also mentions something even more fascinating. Waves upon waves inside the ocean. Scientists have now discovered that deep below the surface, there are internal waves that move separately from the surface waves, just like the Quran describes. How could anyone have known this 1400 years ago, when deep sea exploration only became possible in recent times? We all know that rain comes from clouds. But did you know that rain formation happens in a specific process? Meteorologists today explain that rain forms in 3 stages. First, winds push water vapor into the sky. Second, clouds form and combine. Third, rain falls. Incredibly, this exact process was mentioned in the Quran over 1,400 years ago. And we sent the fertilizing winds, then caused the rain to descend from the sky, and gave you water to drink. This verse describes how winds carry water vapor, fertilizing winds, clouds form, and then rain falls. Before modern science, people had no idea about the role of winds in cloud formation and rain. How could the Quran describe this process in such detail when no one had the scientific knowledge to understand it back then? Have you ever looked at the moon and wondered, does it produce its own light? For centuries, people believed that the moon had its own light. It wasn't until modern astronomy discovered that the moon doesn't generate light. It only reflects sunlight. But here's what's fascinating. The Quran already made this distinction centuries ago. Blessed is he who placed in the sky great stars and placed therein a burning lamp and luminous moon. In Arabic, The sun is called Siraj, meaning a burning lamp, while the moon is called Munir, meaning a body that gives off reflected light. This matches exactly what modern science tells us, that the moon does not have its own light, but reflects the sun's light. How could the Quran make this clear distinction long before telescopes and space exploration? It's another example of how science aligns with Quran perfectly. These are just a few examples of scientific miracles in the Quran. There are many more to explore. Tell us in the comments section if you want to see more amazing facts. Subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for our next video.